Blessed be the name of the Lord. Hallelujah. 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 Father, we thank you. Thank you, Father, for your word. It is life and health to all of our flesh. Not only do we hear your word today, but we receive it, love it, and obey it. We embrace it, we draw it to ourselves. We are doers of what we hear. Holy Spirit, you are welcome to lead me, guide me, direct me, teach me, instruct me in whatever way that you deem necessary, whatever way that you hear from the Father, reveal it to me. But we are rejoicing in the goodness of our God, rejoicing in the love of God, the mercy of God, the compassion of God, the grace of God. Father, we give you all the praise, the honor, and the glory. In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Somebody shout, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Praise God. Well, again, welcome. Welcome this morning. Welcome to you who are joining us by live streaming, and we're so glad that you're able to do that this morning. And this morning we will be, the topic actually is the love cure. And I say it that way because that's one of the things that we forget. We forget the love of God. Now, I'm not talking about this sloppiness that we do in the earth. And we say, well, I love you. Sometimes it's almost like vomit.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the love of God, something that flows from our heart.
Yes.
Something that is ignited by the love of God. And this love that's been shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Spirit, it is eternal. Can you say, God's love is eternal?
God's love is eternal.
His love is eternal. So it's not something that we do today and not do tomorrow. His love is eternal.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Let's show this real quick.
University of Florida, for every home game, we would get in the bus at our hotel and we would drive right by the stadium and we would stop at what's called the Gator Walk. And every game I played there was probably 20 to 40,000 fans at this Gator Walk ready to greet us as we get off the bus. I would see all these people. I gotta tell you, there were a lot of voices that started to hit me. One of the first voices that instantly hit me was pride and arrogance. Because I would look out and I would see thousands of jerseys with my number on it. I would look out and I would see Bible verses that they were wearing because I wore them. And so for a second you thought, dang, I'm something. They're here for me. This is pretty cool. I must be somebody. There's a picture that I stumbled across. And it's one of Time's 100 most influential images of all time.
Wow.
And it's a picture of this young girl. She's on her way from her village to a feeding center not far away. And she's so malnourished and she's moving so slow that this vulture is waiting to attack. So the young man that took this picture, I think there was probably something in his heart that he wanted to do good. He wasn't sure. So he captured this picture and he just waited and then the vulture got closer. So he kind of shooed the vulture off and then he walked away and the vulture would come right back. And he was told, because of some of the sicknesses in the areas, don't touch anybody, don't do anything, and so he didn't. He didn't. He did nothing. Because apparently the cost was too much. So he left. he went back. The New York Times published this photo in 1993. In 94, he won the Pulitzer Prize for this photo. 4 months after this, he chose to end his life. You see, every single one of us, we have a chance to be successful in life. And you know what? I hope you are. I really do. I hope you're successful. There's nothing wrong with being successful. But success is just about you. But significance is about other people. You see, that man that took that picture, he had success. That's one of the greatest honors a photographer could ever have. But obviously it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So what's going to be enough for you? You see, success is great. You can do a lot of things with it. But it's not going to be fulfilling. And you can never forget that sense of urgency, that it's not about your timeline, it's about their timeline. While you might have 30, 40, 50 years, they have days, minutes, moments. She had moments, but it wasn't worth it to go pick her up. It wasn't worth it to give her a hug. It wasn't worth it to tell her about the gospel. Yeah, I won a Pulitzer Prize, but what does it matter? What does it matter? It doesn't. And I think the greatest tragedy in life is we're going to look back one day and say, I was successful in things that don't matter. I want you to be successful. But more than anything, I want you to be significant. And when you live for Jesus and you love people, I believe you're going to have a life of significance.
Hallelujah. So this is where we are as a nation. This is where we are as a culture. This is where we are wherever a person may be internationally. This is where we are. Are we more concerned about success or significance? Are we more concerned about ourselves than others? Are we that person? Are we that photographer who saw a need, but there was a greater need in his mind, and that was to capture that picture? But I have to tell you, the picture wasn't the greatest need. It brought attention to a plight of people, but it wasn't the greatest need. That young lady, that little girl, don't care about how many people know about it. All she cared about at that moment was her life. So why am I saying this? Why is this important? Because we live in a time where it seems that many of us are so concerned about ourselves that we're missing what's going on around us. I understand we have things that we are dealing with, but we can never miss what is going on around us.
Amen.
I can tell you that many of us are doing so much better than others. We may think we're having a hard time, and to us, yeah, we're having a hard time. But then when you look at the life of another, it puts it all in perspective. When we walk past a person who's really struggling and God is nudging us, we are told in this COVID-19, don't touch that person. Don't go past the person. Don't get close to that person. I understand that. But I'm telling you, when you receive the nudging of the Holy Spirit, God will take care of you.
That's right. That's right.
God will take care of you. God wants you to be that person who says, I want to live a life of significance.
Yes.
This is what I said. When we are nudged by the Holy Spirit. We're not just talking about fleshly things, emotional things, but when we are nudged by the Holy Spirit, then we need to get involved. Can anybody say amen?
Amen.
John 3:16 says this, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son." God so loved all people that he gave his only begotten Son. God so loved all ethnicities that he gave his only begotten Son. God so loved all cultures that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Amen. Amen.
During his niece, Sakosia, it's called Coco, nickname, who's in law enforcement. She's a law enforcement officer. And she shared a post that really captured my attention. And I believe it captures the current prevailing atmosphere in black communities and beyond, the larger communities. And you can read the entirety of the post on my Facebook page because I shared it on my page. But she pulled over a vehicle who did a rolling stop, so she pulled the vehicle over. And as she approached, she found herself later, obviously, that she was speaking to a 17-year-old African-American boy. And as she reported it, shaking with fear.
Yes. Yes.
Tears rolling down his face.
Yes.
Terrified. And he was doing as he was taught to do. Put your hands on the wheel, 11 and 12. Look straight ahead. Make no sudden moves. She approached the vehicle. She saw what he was doing. She was trying to talk with him, but he was terrified. He was deathly afraid to even answer. He had tears streaming down his face, and he was struggling to even breathe. And she said, and I quote, "I had to make him breathe because he was shaking so bad." She spoke of having to comfort him and let him know that she wasn't going to hurt him. She reassured him that everything was okay and that his life mattered.
Yes.
She had to really several times tell him, "Look at me, look at me." He finally turned and looked at her, and there was relief. Why was there relief? Because he saw a black woman. He was a police officer. This is where we are. We can dismiss it. We can say all kinds of things about it. But we have another generation now being raised up to be fearful
Yes.
for their lives because of the events.
Yes.
We cannot be people who walk past all of this. I'm not making these statements to criticize anyone. I'm not making these statements to denigrate law enforcement officers. We all understand that in any organization you have a percentage who are bad.
Yes.
But what happens? I'll tell you what happens. What happens is that one bad act by a person that represents an organization causes all of them to look bad. And I'm so glad she posted that. She said, "I struggled with posting." I'm so glad she did.
Yes.
Because she gave a
Yes.
perspective that many of us would never, ever understand.
Yes.
The perspective of this young 17-year-old. I can give you stories of, walking into places and being judged because I'm black, being looked at. There was actually a store here in Jefferson City when we first got here. We would walk in there, and all of a sudden we would have people following us. It wasn't following anybody else. But when we walked in, you say, well, come on, you just imagine it. No, it was our imagination, because every time we walked in there, they followed us. And you find a person busying themselves, and you look up and they're busying themselves. You go somewhere else. And for me, I'm one of those people, I purposely go somewhere else. And all of a sudden I look and this person is there, busying themselves. You kind of know what's going on. So now, please do not hear this as anger. Hear this from the perspective of this has got to stop.
Yeah, that's right.
It's got to stop. But it will not stop unless we have a change of heart. Unless we begin to open our mouths, everyone,
Yes.
not just those who are being wronged, but everyone now has got to open their mouth and say, wait a minute. This is not right. If the church is not talking, and we're the ones who have Jesus Christ,
That's right. That's right.
then, quite frankly, regardless of what we see out there, and I do not encourage the looting and all of that, but that's not the larger percentage of people. That's just in that little frame that you see on the television. The larger group of people are trying to do this peacefully.
Amen.
Yes.
But if we silence ourselves, if we are not speaking up as the church, then, quite frankly, we have no right to speak into anything. If we cannot speak into situations like this, then we have no right to open our mouth and complain about anything that we see.
That's right. That's right.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
What I see that for us, people who are where the love of God has been poured forth into our hearts, man, this is a great opportunity to display the love of God.
Amen.
And there are many times we miss opportunities. But this is a great opportunity to display the love of God, not just to Black Americans, but all Americans. But we need to open up our mouths, because right now the problem is that we are seeing a people who are hurting. This is not the time to throw out platitudes. This is not the time to debate people. When we start debating the real issues, then we miss what happened. That gets swept under the rug, because now we're debating all kind of other things that have really nothing to do with what we're talking about here. We're talking about a life that was lost, another life
Yeah.
that was destroyed. You can say, well, we don't know what happened before that. I'm going to tell you, that doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
It doesn't matter.
matter.
Why are we debating those things? It doesn't
It does
matter.
not matter.
I'm going to tell you, it didn't matter to George.
No.
It doesn't matter to his family.
No.
It doesn't matter to his child.
No.
Doesn't matter to his brother. Let's be honest. Why are we spending our time? I loved it what the brother said. His brother said, why are you out there tearing up things if I'm not out there tearing up things? And I tell you, you cannot be grieving more than me.
That's right.
Amen.
So he's saying your response is not proper.
No.
If I'm not doing it, then why are you?
Right.
If they are not out there saying, well, I wonder if he was doing drugs, why are we? That doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Absolutely not. It's not.
It doesn't matter.
Does not matter.
What matters is the depravity that was on display.
Oh.
The cold, calculating disregard for human life.
Yeah.
That's what matters. That should just I tell you, I saw it, and somebody asked me, were you not angry? Were you not outraged? I said, that was not my first emotion. My first emotion was the cold, calculating disregard
Yeah.
for human life. I was just shocked
Yes.
that we as a people have come that far.
Yeah.
That was my first emotion. Really. And I'm not a person that easily gets into my emotions.
No.
But that was hard.
Yes.
And we've seen some of the others, but that was hard. This is what Coco said. She said, you want to be a difference. If you want to be a difference, be a voice from within. That's what I choose to do. That's what she said. This is what I choose to do. To be a voice from within.
Yes.
We can choose to be a voice. Now, there are various ways that people are speaking out in various things, and social media is inundated with all kinds of things. But what I'm saying to you is, what is God saying to you? And be a voice. Take action. Be a person that says, I'm looking for long-term solutions,
Yeah.
not just momentary.
That's right.
Because if we don't do something long-term, then we will keep seeing this thing happen.
That's right, Pastor.
This one now seems to have touched the conscience of nations.
Yeah.
And that's good. First Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 says this, and I'm reading from the Amplified Version. It says, but understand this, that in the last days will set in perilous times of great stress and trouble, hard to deal with and hard to bear. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yes.
Times of great stress and trouble, hard to deal with and hard to bear. For people will be lovers of self and utterly self-centered. Lovers of money and aroused by an inordinate greedy desire for wealth, proud and arrogant and contemptuous boasters. They will be abusive, blasphemous, scoffing, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, and profane. He said, this is what's going to happen in the last days. How many of you know that you can't pray that away? He said, this will happen in the last days, and we're seeing this.
Absolutely.
We're seeing this. They will be without natural human affection, callous and inhuman. What we saw was callous and inhuman.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Relentless, admitting of no truths of appeasement. They will be slanderous, false accusers, troublemakers, intemperate, and loose in morals and conduct, uncontrolled and fierce, haters of good. Said this is what will happen in the last day. This is what we're seeing. This is what Timothy saw all these years ago as God moved on him by the Holy Spirit to record. John 10:10 says here, the thief comes only in order to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have and enjoy life and have it in abundance to the full till it overflows. So we know what the root problem is. We see the great contest right here. The thief, which we know is the devil, he is a thief. He also is a liar.
Yes.
So the thief comes only in order to steal and kill and destroy. But Jesus said, I came that they may have and enjoy life and have it in abundance to the full till it overflows. If you see a wanted destruction of life, it is not from God.
No.
It is not from God.
No.
We know where that comes from.
Yes.
That comes from the enemy of our soul.
Yes.
That comes from Satan. It comes from the thief. And that thief, his great desire is to destroy life.
That's right.
1 Corinthians 13, if you would turn there, verse 1. 1 Corinthians 13. So we're talking about the love cure. So we see what the root problem is. The root problem is that we have a real enemy. And he does not like you. He does not love you, not one bit. His only desire is to steal from you, to kill you, to destroy you, and to destroy everything about you.
Yep.
That's his only purpose.
Yep.
If you don't believe that, you're missing it big time. Because that's what his whole purpose is. Jesus' purpose is that we would enjoy life and have it to the full, in abundance till it overflows.
Amen.
That's his purpose. That's why he came, that we would have life. He hung on that cross so that we might live. He died so that we might live. He rose again so that we might live.
Amen.
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 1 Corinthians 13, I'm reading also for the Amplified. It says, if I can speak in tongues of men and even of angels, but have not love, that reasoning, intentional, spiritual devotion such as is inspired by God's love and for and in us, I am only a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. Just making a lot of noise. You're not walking in love, you're just making a lot of noise. Verse 2, and if I have prophetic powers, the gift of interpreting the divine will and purpose, and understand all the secret truths and mysteries, and possess all knowledge, and if I have sufficient faith so that I can remove mountains, but have not love, God's love in me, I am nothing. A useless nobody. We don't have the love of God. Then from the Amplified it said, you're a useless nobody. And I know that's tough to hear. Because we're talking about know who you are. We're empowered by the Holy Spirit. But that only comes through the love of God.
That's right.
We make it significant through the empowerment of the Holy Spirit, the love of God that's been shed abroad in our heart. That's how we change the world. That's how we make a difference in the world, by the love of God. Even if I dole out all that I have to the poor and provide you food, and if I surrender my body to be burned or in order that I may glory, but have not love, God's love in me, I gain nothing.
Yep.
Yes.
I gain nothing.
Yes.
Which is interesting because he said, if I have prophetic powers, the gift of interpreting divine purpose, and understand all secret truths and mysteries, and possess all knowledge, and if I have sufficient faith, great faith, so that I can move mountains, but have not love, in me I am nothing. That's really interesting because we sometimes have this idea is that we have the Spirit of God in us. We have the Spirit of God in us. So therefore, we can do all of these things. And he's saying it doesn't matter if you have all that stuff. If you don't have love, it amounts to nothing.
That's right.
It amounts to nothing.
Nothing.
And then he goes on and says, even if I dole out all that I have to the poor in providing food, and if I surrender my body to be burned, or in order that I may glory, but have not God's love in me, I gain nothing. And you give, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself. I gave this to this person, I gave this to this person, and all of that. I made some sacrifice here, feeling good. But if you don't have the love of God in you, then it amounts to nothing. It has no significant value
Yes.
for you. We can do a lot of things, but if we don't do it by the love of God, ignited by the love of God, empowered by the love of God, then we're just making noise. We're just saying, look at me. You realize that there are a lot of unbelievers that give a whole lot of money to the church. They're unbelievers. But they don't have the love of God in them. So it's not just about how much money I give. It's not just about me operating in the gifts. It's about the love of God. Do you have the love of God operating, exploding in you? Are you empowered by the love of God? That's the cure.
Yes. Yes.
That's the cure.
Amen.
Amen.
I understand that there are many people who don't have the love of God in them, but that's why we are here. That's why we remain here on this earth. We need to proclaim this truth,
Yes.
Come on.
but not just with words, but by our actions.
Come on.
Amen. Yes.
By our actions.
Yes.
Amen.
Are we just passing by? Are we like those three who were on the road and we saw someone laying there, and the religious folks walked past it, but the despised Samaritan stopped, poured in the oil, the wine, the healing properties.
Yes.
And then he took the person, he lifted the person up and he took him to a place where he can get long-term help.
Yes.
Not just temporary. He didn't pour in the oil and the wine and then just walk away. I've done my part. No, he ensured he got to a place where he could have long-term help.
Yes.
It's not good enough for us just to feed a person for a day. Are we teaching them? Are we helping them to get to a place of long-term help?
Yeah.
It's not good enough to make a statement on Facebook today, but when the news cycle moves, you move.
Come on.
Once you get off of Facebook, now what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Now how are you interacting? Are you looking at people of color strangely? We have to begin to really begin to process. What do I believe about the Word of God? I'm required to make sure that when I interact with people, that is not on the basis of their status, their color,
Right.
their stature,
Right.
their education.
Yeah.
I'm required. And so is every one of us.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Amen.
So is every one of us.
Yes. Yes.
We are required.
We are.
The scriptures tell us to bless those who curse us.
Yes. Yes.
But he also tells us to mourn with those who mourn.
Yes.
To rejoice with those who rejoice.
Yes. Yes.
Didn't say anything about us criticizing, bickering,
Gospel.
gossiping, debating. He says, mourn with those who mourn. Rejoice with those
Yes.
who rejoice.
Yes.
Bless those who curse. Do good to those who say all manner of things against you.
Yes. Yes.
And talking about being judged on love, that takes it to a different category. When we look at 1 Corinthians 13, we see God in action. This is who God is. And this is what's been poured forth into our hearts. So when we do things other than that, then we've got to ask ourselves this question: am I really following the dictates of my Father? Am I really imitating Christ in this? Somebody shout hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Love endures long and is patient and kind. Love never is envious nor boils over with jealousy. It is not boastful or vainglorious, does not display itself haughtily. It is not conceited, arrogant, inflated with pride. It is not rude and unmanly, and does not act unbecomingly. Love, God's love in us, does not insist on its own rights or its own way, for it is not self-seeking. It is not touchy, fretful, or resentful. Love is not touchy, fretful, or resentful.
Amen.
Let me say that again. Love is not touchy, fretful, or resentful. Some of us are so touchy. We are so into our feelings. If somebody look at us the wrong way, we just want to go off. No, love is not that. Love is not that. I'm talking to me too. I'm talking to me too. I can't stand when people give me that eye. Oh, I just want to, what's for the love of God in me, the love of God restrains me.
I know that's right.
I really want to look at them and say,
Who are you looking at? What, I got something
there's
on?
something wrong with this. I'm checking myself big time. You know?
Yeah.
That's it. That's either like looking at me like that or snapping their neck and then act like they didn't look. I'm just going to say, are you okay?
Yeah.
I understand this also, that many times people don't know how to respond, don't know how to react whenever we have things like this happen. People don't know what to do.
That's right.
I remember Doreen and I were walking in the mall. We were walking through the mall. The gentlemen just go over there so often just walk around the mall. Exercise. And this was after the Ferguson thing. And so we were walking the mall after that event, and we had a couple, and they were looking, they were walking, they kept looking. And y'all know this story.
Yes.
Then Doreen turns and she says, "Hi, how are you?" I am not making this up. That was like, really, because they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do. Let me tell you, the best thing to do is just to interact with people, just to love people.
That's right. That's right.
No one's asking any of us to come up with the ultimate solution.
No,
God already
no.
did that. He
Yes.
sent His Son.
Hallelujah. Amen.
He already did that. Now, how are we going to walk this out? That's the key. How are we going to walk love out? If God puts a person in your path, how are you going to deal with that? How are you going to interact with that? What will be your response?
That's right. Love.
When somebody says something ugly to you, what's going to be your response? See, this is how conversations begin. Now, I'm not saying for you to stand there and just belittle you and all of this kind of. Sometimes you have to walk away because some people are just totally unreasonable.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that when God puts a person in your path, and you have an opportunity
Yes.
to just share. Some people just don't know. Why? Because they've never had to interact before.
No.
That's right.
That's right.
Never had to interact before. Gary Barron, Pastor Gary Barron and Pastor Scott Musselman and I have been on this journey for 25 years, 20-something years. I'm looking back here, and Gary is on actually a real sabbatical this time. We joke and everything because he goes on vacation and stuff. He said, "Oh, another sabbatical." Well, he's on a real sabbatical this time to just take a break and get his thoughts together and stay before the Lord. And we have been on this journey for 24 years or something like that. It's over 20 years. And we sit down and we actually have real, meaningful discussions. We really do. And it covers, the subject matter covers some of everything. We ask questions. If we don't know, we ask questions. I ask questions, some things about them. They ask questions, some things about me. We ask questions. That's the only way that we can really get to know each other. We have to ask questions. We have to ask questions.
That's right.
If you don't ask questions, how will you know?
That's right.
Please let's not assume that everybody, we say, people should know. Why should they know? If they never had to encounter it.
That's right.
Why should they know? So we cannot anymore assume anyone. And we cannot assume that everybody is against us. Not everybody against us. Some just don't know. Some, quite frankly, excuse the word, some are just ignorant.
Yes, that's the word. Ignorant.
They are. I'm talking about ignorant, not necessarily in a bad sense, but in the ignorance as far as they don't know.
Right.
I'm ignorant of some of the high-level math that some of these kids are doing today.
I know that's right. I know
I
that's
am
right.
ignorant.
Yes.
Don't come and ask me how to figure it out. I have no clue.
Hallelujah.
When my daughter was in the 6th grade, my oldest daughter was in the 6th grade, and she was coming to me, and she was struggling with math, and she was putting this stuff, and I said, well, let's figure it out together. I had no clue. And we sat there and had to figure it out together, and that same one now is a school teacher.
There you
So
go.
figure.
There you go.
But we have to sit there and figure those things out together.
Yes.
If you don't know, we say during the night, we kind of joke this way, we say that if you don't know, you better ask somebody.
That's right. That's right. That
That's
ass.
the only way. If
Yeah.
you want to know how do I get through this, then talk with someone.
Better find out.
What is the best way? Talk with someone.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Don't just assume anything. Amen?
Amen.
Hallelujah. So, first side is not conceited, arrogant, inflated with pride. It's not touchy or fretful or resentful. It takes no account of the evil done to it. It pays no attention to it, suffered wrong. It does not rejoice at injustice and unrighteousness, but rejoices when right and truth prevails.
That's right.
Love rejoices when right and truth prevails.
Yes.
It rejoices. Because that's what we want. We want what is right and what is truth
Yes.
to prevail.
Yes.
Amen.
If not, then we continue the cycle.
That's right.
We continue the cycle.
That's right.
And each time it gets uglier. It gets uglier. Each time. It does not rejoice at injustice, unrighteousness. Sadly, there are some, and I've seen some of the little ones, there are some that are almost rejoicing in the injustice. They are hurting themselves to stand up for this one officer. Why? Regardless of what you say, as we said before, did you not see what happened here? Almost 8 minutes. Why would I rejoice at unrighteousness? What it says rejoice when right and truth prevail.
That's right.
This is why we still divide. Because we haven't come to the single common denominator. And that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God.
Amen.
Amen. And if people do not know him, we do. So what is our response? We don't respond like everybody else. We have a different response. Why? Because the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts. And our minds.
Come on. That's right.
Verse 7 says, love bears up under anything and everything that comes, is ever ready to believe the best of every person.
Yes.
This hopes are faithless under all circumstances, and it endures everything without weakening. Love never fails. Never fades out or becomes obsolete or comes to an end. Love never fails. Say that with me.
Love never fails.
Say it again.
Love never fails.
Love never fails. And we're trying to walk this out. We're trying to do the best we can. I understand we are living still in these fleshly bodies, but we have got to get to this place where we stop allowing the flesh to dominate.
Amen. Amen.
We begin to walk this out. Walk this out. Yeah, will we trip and stumble every so often? Yeah. But then we right ourselves up. If we fall, we get back up and we begin to walk out this love. Because if they don't see us doing it, if they see us rejoicing at injustice, if they see us being ugly and nasty, and then we turn around and say, well, have you heard about Jesus? They have every right to ask you, have you heard?
Have you heard? Yeah, that's right.
And I'm going to tell you, there are many people out there that know enough
Yes.
about the scriptures that they'll throw it right back at you.
Yes.
And they have every right to do it.
Yes.
And then at that point, we need to stop and say, forgive me.
Yes.
Forgive me. That was not a love word, a love action. We're going to stop right there. But I wanted to make sure that we at least be introduced to the cure.
Yeah.
Love is the cure.
Amen.
Right now, our nation is sick.
Amen.
Love is the cure. Right now, people are at each other's throat. Love is the cure. And if we don't start walking in love, then, and I understand, in these last days, things will get, the darkness will be darkness. But this is what he said to us in Isaiah. He said, but the light will shine.
Yes.
No
Yes.
matter how dark it gets, the light always shows up and can be seen.
Yes.
The light can always be seen. But we've got to be that people to allow the light to be seen. I'm going to ask you, I just ask you, make it see, can you be that light?
Yes.
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 Can you
Every
be that
day.
light?
Every day. Yes.
Not just love those that you know.
No. No.
Press past that. Love those that you don't know.
Yes.
Bless and not curse.
That's right.
That's what's difficult. That's really what's difficult because I don't want to. I don't want to bless. But yet I'm commanded to. So it ain't about me.
That's right.
It ain't about you.
No.
It's all about God.
Yes. Yes.
Say it again, but we need to remind ourselves every so often. It's not about me. Point to
Not
yourself.
about me.
It's not about you. Point to
Not
somebody.
about
Point to
you.
me.
Not about you.
It's all about God.
It's all about God.
It's all about.
It's all about God.
Amen.
If we don't, if the church has forgotten that, if the church is not walking in love, how can we expect anybody else to be in it?
Amen.
We're wanting the world to act like Jesus when the church is still struggling to imitate Christ.
That's right.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Father, we thank you. We rejoice in you. Rejoice in your goodness and mercy. I pray, Father, that we would be those people who are like the Good Samaritan, who see the person in need of help and stop. Stop in all of our busyness. Stop on our journeys and help and be a blessing. But then also walk with them from that point so that they can receive all of their help and come to wholeness. In whatever manner that you speak to us. If it's financially, then we're trusting you to provide the finances so we can be a blessing.
Yes, Lord.
If it's words of comfort, then we trust you to put the words in our heart so that we can speak words of comfort.
Yes. Yes.
If it's getting them to another location, getting them to the hospital, or whatever the case might be, so that they can receive the long-term care. Help us. Provide us with the way of getting them there.
Yes.
But Father, we look to you. Put our trust, our hope, our confidence in you and you alone.
Yes.
For it's in Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name.
And all the people said,
Amen.
hallelujah. Glory to God.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Jesus. And if you're here today and you do not know Jesus as your Lord, then don't go another second. Make the declaration of faith in him. Follow the leading of the Holy Spirit. Because so often the Holy Spirit is nudging us and we ignore it. If you're out there watching us in Lime Street, if you don't know Jesus as Lord, or if you were that person who walked away, come on back. Follow the nudging of the Holy Spirit. Receive Jesus in your life.
Yes.
So I asked the question like I always said, I don't want to assume anything. If you haven't accepted Jesus as Lord, then today's the day. If you have been that person who walked away, come on back.
Yes.
Yes, Lord.
but make a decision today. Make a decision today. Hey, Justin, good seeing you, brother. Good seeing you. Hallelujah. So we thank you for being with us this day. We're going to continue on in our service. The live feed will end at this particular point. But thank you for being a part of our service today. Amen.